Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. I hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. A couple of things have been going on quite recently, and I thought I'd at least share my opinion because I didn't expect this to. I knew that the news was significant, but I didn't expect how quickly it would spread around. Just a bit of a backstory for those who don't know. We had news about a week and a half ago at this point that China apparently controls 80% of the mining capabilities of creating new Bitcoin. There's also reports as well of them holding a large stake in Ethereum and Litecoin as well. And I also believe Bitcoin Cash, if I'm not mistaken, from Bitmain. Point is, China controls, quote unquote, 80% of the Bitcoin mining capabilities. And that worried a lot of people in the community. A lot of people were seemingly unworried, which I thought was quite interesting as well. On top of this, couple of hours ago, maybe even not even a full day, we had news that the people from Ripple had actually been in talks with the White House. And one of the things that I think Ripple a lot of times lets things slip. I don't know if it's by accident or because they really meant to do it. The point was, they said that they had been in talks with the people inside of the White House, and that apparently the talks were going very well. The people inside the White House thought that their ideas were pretty good. And when you look around right now, I'm not sure how, some of these titles are a bit strong, especially about XRP and Bitcoin being weaponized. Without reading through the entire thing, I'm trying to make a little snippet video, if you will. It talks about as the idea is that as China is a country that likes to control things, and if Bitcoin at some point should become this economic power force that everyone is expecting it to become, let's say that Bitcoin ends up hitting $250,000 and China is controlling 80% of the production of Bitcoin, that leads then to a problem for the United States and many other countries. And the idea is that if China decides to weaponize Bitcoin, then the White House or the United States in general, let's just say the US in general as a whole at this point, is looking to Ripple/XRP and using them as their weapon, if you will. And like I said, I saw the news yesterday. I thought it was significant, but typically sometimes when news happens, people pay attention, and other times people just don't pay attention. A lot of things like that have kind of perplexed me. But then it started popping up on like websites like Forbes, and it says China's Bitcoin dominance is worrying Trump's White House and is pushing it toward Ripple. And it's coming down to now, and I don't know how everyone out there feels about it. I have hinted before that I thought something like this was going to happen, maybe not at this exact time or in this exact way. The articles that are out there right now and what they're talking about is that simply because not only has the Ripple team been on a good terms with people in the White House, but the discussion has turned to that as XRP is already pre-mined. This gives the United States a big leg up on having to actually create the cryptocurrency so that they can use it themselves and potentially then have it be as the main dominant currency. I don't really know how else to put that. Like, if China is going to not give up their control, then the only big slugger in the game, the only other juggernaut that the US could potentially use at this time is then XRP. I don't know how do I say this? I think people might be jumping the gun, but then again, I made other videos before and I told you guys exactly who Ripple, the company, is partnered with and what they're doing. And when you have over 200 banks that you're partnered with, and you have 50 central banks around the world, when you have multiple offices in different countries, especially countries that have banned cryptocurrencies, I think it's safe to say that they've probably had more than one or two discussions with people inside of the White House. I don't know how I personally feel about this, like if it's going to be like an actuality. I mean, realistically, we've had information from the White House before where they were talking about that they didn't like, or rather they were questioning, and I said it made sense, I guess, in hindsight. We had stuff like 2-3 months ago where people were talking in front of Congress, and Congress kept on asking if Bitcoin was going to be a threat to them. And I said it didn't really make a lot of sense. I thought that they were afraid of the cryptocurrency space in general. Like, I thought it was something that they just weren't keen on, or that they just didn't really, they were trying to learn a bit more about. But then it came to my mind. I was like, it makes a lot of sense that the people from Congress or the Senate, wherever they were talking to people, and the constant question that they kept on asking was specifically about Bitcoin. It was never if cryptocurrencies as a whole can usurp them. It was, is Bitcoin a threat to the U.S.? Will Bitcoin be a threat to the U.S.? If Bitcoin's price go up, will this be a threat to the U.S. dollar? This was asked over and over and over. So I can only assume that all these things are kind of tied together. As we've had a lot of speculation from the corner of Ripple and being a security, or Ripple being a currency, as that other organization, actually, if you Google like XRP is a currency, you'll find the actual news on it. A couple of years ago, the Ripple team, I think they were looked into by some type of company or something like that, who told them that they hadn't signed up proper paperwork, so and so and so. The Ripple team did it, signed all the paperwork, everything went smoothly. And apparently that company then declared that XRP was an actual security. And then you also have the people from the SEC, the people who decide if XRP is supposed to be a security, actually on their, like, not leaderboard, but like they're on their side during lawsuits and stuff like that, claiming that they're also not a security. I don't know personally how I would feel if this is all working up to XRP being like a US backed currency. I think, I don't know how I would, like, how like when you like wish for something for a really long time and then you finally get it, and like you look around to see like if it's a joke, like if you is this real? I would not be upset if this were to happen. That is just how I feel about it. But I think at some point it's going to kind of come to a head, like there's going to be a little fork in the road. Bitcoin isn't dying anytime soon. We've spoken about that many times. I told you guys, Bitcoin might not be my favorite cryptocurrency out there, but I do not see any future where Bitcoin is going to perish, especially with all the news that we constantly have about Fidelity and the New York Stock Exchange and ICE and the NASDAQ and this stock exchange and so accepting it, and this person doing this with it. And I think Bitcoin is going to be around for quite some time. But at a certain point, it's going to, I'll put it to you this way. All the things that we've had before, not even like some of the crazier prediction as to what crypto is going to do. Let's say even a more conservative quote unquote in crypto. Conservative in this case means Bitcoin hitting $250,000 in 2030 and not in 2020. That's conservative for crypto. We're going to get to a point where Bitcoin is strong enough to actually push out the US dollar. And if the US dollar can't really get it together, or if inflation is still a thing, and the debt that the world is in right now, and specifically the United States, if that continues, I think the United States will then have to find some sort of contender to be able to stay in the game. We've had speculation before that it was going to be Ethereum, or that Ethereum could be a major player. I'm going to rule them out simply because I feel like Ethereum, Tron, Cardano, and a couple of other players, these are more like, I feel like these are going to be more like internet type platforms where you can like build things on top of them. You can build infrastructure, you can build dApps, you can build ICOs, you can build smart contracts, so and so and so. I feel like XRP and Bitcoin, for what it's worth, my personal opinion, are like the two head runners as far as like actual currencies that are either already being used or are going to be used a lot more in the future. Once again, this is all, I guess, to some degree speculation. I didn't realize how many I was looking around for stuff like other type of news and stuff, and I kept on seeing these popping up over and over. White House to pit XRP against Bitcoin, fearing China's mining dominance, and XRP is going to be weaponized. And I mean, it seems believable at some point. If for those who are unaware, the United States is a very powerful country, entity, force, whatever you kind of want to call them. And I don't see them really giving up their power anytime soon. That's just another thing that I personally feel about. And I guess it has more to do with, I mean, if you're on the top, you're going to try and figure out a way to stay on the top. What do you guys think? Like, am I too far to one side? Like, am I thinking too, not out of the box, but like, am I just thinking more into it than I actually should? Like I said, if Bitcoin does become this major thing, China's going to then dominate the world. Like, if Bitcoin in some parallel future amazing fantastical unicorn universe ends up hitting $1 million per coin, and if they're controlling 80% right now, especially with Bitmain going public, and I'm pretty sure the Chinese government is definitely going, if Bitcoin hits like 15, 25, 34,000, the Chinese government is going to dump a lot of money into Bitcoin mining, and I can only assume that they would then also find a way to buy up other smaller mining corporations or companies, whatever name you give them. Then that means the rest of the world is definitely going to have to do something, because the other thing that was happening in the articles that we were reading a day or two ago, it was talking about that China could potentially, and this is where I think all of this is coming from as being weaponized for those who just really haven't gotten that point yet. It comes down to if in Venezuela right now, they just announced, crazy, they actually have a 1.4 million% hyperinflation right now, which means that the dirt that they walk on is actually worth more than their currency, and that's not me joking either. There's also a problem in Argentina. There's a problem in Turkey right now. There's a problem in a couple of African countries, and I think maybe one or two other South American countries. And the idea is, if Bitcoin does end up becoming, hyper stable, going up, a lot of other countries around the world are going to then look for an answer as to what could make their currency or their country a lot more stable. And if Bitcoin does become this major name, they're going to potentially, this is the idea, say that they're going to start using Bitcoin. This is also in a world where Bitcoin is able to, do, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7 million transactions per second to be able to actually keep up with the need for the entire world at that point. But let's say you have 15, 16, 17 different countries around the world. Their economies have collapsed. Bitcoin's at $1 million. They're like, you know what? We have 45,000 Bitcoin. That's just a random number. We need to start using this as our national currency. And then China, who's still controlling 80%, 83, 84, 5% at this point, possibly in the future, then decides to destroy the network in some sort of way. I saw a lot of people talking about that China wouldn't be able to destroy the Bitcoin network. I think it's funny, and this is just how I feel about it. Whenever other coins get 51% attacked, or whenever other people find something in the code of that coin that allows that attacker to be able to print more coins, they say that this is only possible for the other coins, but it's only a theory on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not immune from a 51% attack, especially if you are controlling 80% of its mining capabilities. Like, the point is that the fear is that China could destabilize a large portion of the world if they have their own national currency and nothing happens to it. Like, the world goes on in their borders where everyone's still using their currency. Crypto remains banned in their country, but they still control the mining and creation of Bitcoin. And at some point, they just try to dismantle the entire network, whatever the case might be, and they destroy the wealth of numerous other countries around the world. That is the problem where they're talking about the weaponization of Bitcoin. But it seems like, after all the partnerships, after all the people in the United States and around the world who are backing the Ripple team, and therefore in some way backing XRP, I could see XRP being like the counter weapon to this. I know that makes a lot of people so mad, and it makes me it makes me kind of bad saying it, because I can feel like the hyper Bitcoin maximalists like gritting their teeth as they say it. I mean, I just report the news. I just say exactly what's out there. I'm not in the White House. I don't really know what to tell you as far as that. But I'm pretty sure they've looked into other options. And as of now, the Ripple team, they've been at it nonstop for the last 4 years, where they have knocked on everyone's door and they said, not only are we compliant, but we're willing to play ball. And when you play ball, this is exactly what you get. Alrighty, everyone. Just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Like I said, I was quite shocked at all the people talking about this, and I guess the possibility of it maybe potentially one day happening. who knows exactly what the cryptocurrency space is going to turn into in the next couple of years. I think it is at this point is really anyone's guess, but yeah. Alrighty. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all the support. And I'll talk to you all soon. See you.